So for the other classic studies, this was a very famous study, Roman numeral 4. David Spiegel did a very interesting study in 1989 in the Lancet, and basically summarized this in your own words. He took women that had metastatic breast cancer, and they were all getting chemo and radiation. One group was put in a weekly support group session for an hour and a half a week. The other group just got the chemo and radiation. Both groups got that. What he found was that the result was that those people put in the psychosocial support group survived an average of almost twice as long, 36 months versus 18 months. This was phenomenal. Actually, what is it, 36? Yeah, 36 versus 18 is what you can do. And the question is, why? What is the meaning behind this? This all goes back into psychoneuroimmunology, the idea of the psychosocial support, sharing the feelings of powerlessness, frustration, talking with other people about it, coping with this, that the mind can actually influence the body. So this is the biopsychosocial health model, and a classic study which was used to basically promote the idea that good psychology can really have a positive effect on even breast cancer survival time. 10 months later, 3 people were still alive. They were all in the support group. Another key study, and once again, method, result, and meaning. Method here is going to be a little bit detailed, so see if you can write it out. Basically, they gave dental students who had to have their wisdom teeth removed. If you've ever had that experience, it's not much fun. I got to go and get that done in New Jersey in 1984, where my beloved Buckeyes were losing in the Rose Bowl that year, and it really sucked. So they gave them medicines while they were getting their wisdom teeth removed. They gave them diazepam, Valium, nitrous oxide, and other things while it was removed. But the interesting phase 2. In phase 2, they came back into a group of these patients' room and they said, "How's your pain doing? Would you like some more medication for your pain?" And all the patients, the dental students, said yes. But for a group of patients, they came in there and they gave them an injection, and it was an injection of nothing, of saline. And for a bunch of those people, they said, "Oh, I'm feeling much better now." Now, I call that effect the placebo effect. I don't call it the placebo group. I call it the placebo effect because placebo is an effect for me. And finally, in phase 3, they gave these people, they said, "Are you still feeling the pain?" And for all those people who were feeling good in phase 2 with saline, the placebo effect, they came in phase 3 and they said, "Yes, I would like some more pain medication." They gave them Narcan or naloxone. And it turns out that when they got this injection, after that, they started feeling the pain. And the question is, what does all this mean? So the meaning is what you want to type out next. And the meaning here is that Narcan or naloxone, if you know anything about this product, it blocks the endorphins. And so in phase 3, by giving these people Narcan or naloxone, it suggested that in phase 2, when they were getting the saline, they were able to kick their own endorphins in to not feel the pain. And by doing the Narcan in phase 3, this suggested the mind can control the body. And then when you block the body with an endorphin antagonist, which is what naloxone is, all of a sudden the endorphins weren't working anymore. So mind can influence body. If you block the body, it can really happen in this way. Another classic study, Vicentainer, and actually this goes back into the original quote that I think, was it Gerald, that you had, that, what was it? People get sick because they get a virus or the flu. The body's immune system will defend itself, but the role of psychology within that realm seems to be very strong, and I like your position on this, that and I appreciate you posting that. So we have that one with that particular study. Another classic study, a lot simpler. Method, result, meaning. Write it up in that way. The method was they gave these tumor cells to rats, and then they put these rats in this Vicentainer study and Seligman study. They put them in a maze where they were trapped and shocked. Half of the rats could escape the shock. Half of the rats could not escape the shock. They found that for the mice that could not escape the shock, 74% the tumor cell turned into cancer. But for the mice that could escape the shock, only 27% could. So psychology there again, how your ability to control stressors can actually have something to do with your ability in cancer here. Finally, the next study, hardiness, Kobasa. Very interesting study here. And the last one that I'll talk about, I think. I have a bunch of these, but I wanted to kind of go easy on you here since it's the first time I'm teaching this class for you guys. Very famous study done by Kobasa, 1979. If any of you are familiar with a gal named Lily Tomlin, used to be a very famous comedian, and she used to do Ma Bell. And if you type up Lily Tomlin and Ma Bell, AT&T, she used to run a switchboard and just do a comedic thing with that. AT&T in the late 1970s, there was deregulation in the phone industry. AT&T would never be able to monopolize the phone industry. Verizon, Sprint, all these other companies came online, and they knew, mid-level managers, that their jobs were in peril. It was never going to be the good life again. They found that half of the managers who were in these mid-level manager positions got very, very sick. The other half of the managers seemed to stay pretty healthy, and they were wondering why. And they found there were three key variables that controlled this. They found that the three key variables, the three key C's, commitment, control, and challenge. Commitment, for those managers who were committed to not just their jobs, but their family and their lives. They had hobbies, they had things to do, they had strong supportive families and friends, that those managers who had commitment to family, friends, and job, they tended not to get ill. For the managers who simply defined themselves in terms of their job, they got very ill. So that was the variable of commitment. Control, for the managers who ended up feeling healthy, they felt they had control over their lives. They felt like everything was going to be okay, they could do things, and they had control over their lives. Internal control. For those that were not doing well, who got sick, they felt they had no control over their lives. Everything was external. This was terrible. There was nothing they could do about it. And finally, challenge. Those managers who did well, they said, you know what? I'm going to go out and find another job. I'm going to be challenged by this. I'm going to do okay, and I'm going to be all right. I will find another job. For those that were unhealthy, they said, this is it. My life is over. There's no challenge here. So commitment, control, and challenge was coined the term hardiness. And we find that people who have a hardy personality, very much a part of health psychology, your personality profile in dealing with hardships has a lot to do with your body's ability to get better. So these are some of the key findings in health psychology. What I would like you to do is kind of summarize with some of the points you made, some of the points I made about the three that I put on the Blackboard discussion, and then add in kind of the method, result, and meaning. Go into page 113, add some details about that. Let me see if there's anything else in chapter 6 that's worth mentioning here. The physiology of stress. If you look at 116, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis wrecks the immune system after the flight or fight response to the sympathetic nervous system. So you can add that in. The rest of it, don't think you have to worry about this long term. We'll talk about this more later on during the semester. Maybe one other thing to add to this is on page 125, stressful life events, measuring those. Holmes and Ray came up with a scale to measure those. If you want to look at that scale and even fill it out and see what levels of stress you're undergoing, it could be a useful thing to comment on as well. So hopefully this helps you out, and this will conclude the second recording for the second follow-up assignment that you have to do. Hopefully this makes sense. Send me drafts of what you got. I'll tell you if it's good or not. Don't worry about making it detailed outlines just with simple format forms. Many times, I've been sharing method result discussion. You can't have full sentences here. What you really want to do here is type out something that 10 years from now, if you ever have to go back and look at this, it can just have the Roman numerals of 1A, B, and C and follow a format so you know what you did and what you found here. Thanks. Bye-bye.